Oh, we made it. We made it. Twitter says we're live. We made it to Friday. Pistons rematch.
Sam's Pistons.
Oh, God.
Our Pistons are back for revenge.
I will say
they want to lose by less.
I came in the room, y'all were talking about March Madness when we came in here. It is the most so Bobby, we made our March Madness bracket on the show, like our HBTC March Madness bracket, and I was mocking Sam the whole time because I was like, I don't know, I think I want to pick an upset here, and Sam goes, no, and Sam was like, no, we're picking the chalk, we're doing this,
the whole Sam reason that this tournament has juices for the upsets,
right? And so Sam, we also made our own individual brackets. Sam named his Learn Chinese Buddy, and he's sub 50% already, which is just my favorite thing in the world. Like
I have two brackets, and that was the one I think I did that one first, and I did one that I was like, okay, let me have a little bit more fun with it. And that one is at 89.2% for whatever it's
so
worth.
You
gotta have fun.
That's covering his bases, because if it goes chalk, he can say, I told you, and he also faded himself.
Yep. This is also true. Timo is in fact leading our pool. So
this is the first. Timo. So a lot of these betting lines for March Madness are really close. I know I've bitched about sports. Mm-hmm. Sorry, I've complained about sports betting quite a bit over the last week, but March Madness is the time for it. And also, I did not realize it was Nebraska a 3 seed and their money lines they're even odds.
Mm-hmm. Can I tell you the most disappointing? There was a whole lot of experts billing McNeese State as the darling of this tournament, that they're going to go on a run, and they got smacked yesterday.
Dude, I watched the whole TikTok. Did you watch the Barstool TikTok with Big Cat?
I listened to the pod when they talked about that. They were talking about their non-conference schedule. They literally played what is it, Mississippi School for Women?
Yep. They played Mississippi State School for Women. 30. Yeah, they played hold up.
Bible studies.
Yeah, they played Christian Bible School. It was just you look at their schedule and
10th grade homeroom. Lost by
basically LeBron's path to the 2020 title is who they played.
They played College of Biblical Studies.
Well done. Way to get that in, Sam. That was impressive.
Champion Christian, Leterno, all three of which put up 55 points or less. And then also Mississippi University for Women, who they beat 92-23. You talk about Mickey Mouse. What are we doing? Are we serious? Come on.
It's something
They're lucky
else,
they won their conference tournament.
They took on Texas A&M Commerce. Yeah?
They
okay,
made up schools.
They should have played our men's league
Good
team.
job, guys.
They might have lost.
Yeah, right?
Maybe. This ankle is healthy. Watch out.
Shout out Timo. Timo is actually top 100,000 brackets in the world right now.
Oh my gosh,
kind of funny.
Timo's
kind of cooking. Shout out Timo. He's leading the pool. At the bottom of our pool is
me.
Our boy. Matt. I think it's Matt Henderson. Shout out Matt.
No.
Matt is rocking a cool 15% correct right now. So
I took a hit for everybody.
How so?
Cam is second. Well, I made a shit bracket, a terrible bracket. I'm sorry.
This guy,
you're not doing it on purpose
today.
You're editing this one
before a 7:00 tip too.
7 o'clock tonight.
7:00.
That's tough. I'm trying to see. Sam, you mentioned. I'm sorry, Bobby. I swear we'll talk Celtics eventually.
Yeah, we'll get there.
You were talking. March Madness is time for betting. I was watching Dayton, Nevada, and Dayton was on a 4-0 run. I'm like, they can do it, and so I just put $10 on Dayton when they were plus 11-20. I'm like,
there we go.
This is what March is about. This is March.
Gambling Jack.
Oh yeah, it's bad. It's not good. I lost money. Anyways, we can actually talk Celtics now. And let's start with the title and thumbnail, which is the Celtics late game offense, which was once again, we'll call it questionable against the Bucks the other night. Some call it questionable, some say bad. Probably the latter is correct, but they pulled out a win anyways. So, a win is a win at this point in the season. That's what RJ always says. But I still think there are questions to be had about their offense. Bobby, what are you making of it moving forward? Is that your biggest concern heading into the playoffs?
Yeah, the crunch time offense is definitely my biggest concern, and we'll get big picture. I'll let someone kick off the macro view of this. Giannis was out, obviously, so you can't just ignore that detail. But if you go back and watch the final 5 minutes in their possessions, they consistently get good looks. Derek White missed 2 open threes and a floater from inside the paint he had a clean look at. There was one where he relocated and Porzingis didn't expect that. So he throws it in the vicinity. It wasn't exactly online, but it was nearby where Derek White was originally. And if it had reached the target, then it's another open look for D. White. Tatum got the layup and he waved off the switch with Damian Lillard, where, again, Derek White came in to set the screen, and he just attacked Malik Beasley. So from a macro, that's my favorite, when Tatum is aggressive and getting downhill. But they consistently gave themselves about 16 seconds in the shot clock to work with. There's one where Tatum does a fantastic job. We'll see it later, where they send 2 at him. He picks up his dribble immediately, and he gets it to Porzingis, and it leads to good things. There's another one where Tatum cuts into the paint, gets it, and kicks it to Porzingis for a clean look at a corner 3. So, again, Giannis wasn't there, but the offense consistently got good looks that just didn't go down.
Am I stupid, or can they just – is it impossible to ask to put somebody in the dunker spot against his own with the free throw line combo and play high-low? Or is that just not possible in the NBA because of the athleticism? That's like a legit question. I don't know.
They had someone in the spot a couple of times against the zone, but you can do it for sure, especially if that person's willing to go baseline to baseline.
It would be so much easier for them to make Milwaukee sweat instead of having one guy try and penetrate and 4 guys on the perimeter. Like, yes, they did generate some good shots. Like, you guys are right. Make no mistake. But the fact that they struggled for the entire fourth quarter to put the ball in the basket against the zone was like PTSD for me. I did not like that at all. They should be better at this by now, and they have shown that they've been better throughout the season. Like, teams have thrown zone at them before. Miami has tried to throw junk defense at them this year, and they didn't have a problem. So why they had a problem with Bobby Portis sitting in the paint as the anchor on this, I can't tell you, but they got to figure it out. And if this was just an off night, I hope so. Not all the shots were awful, but it becomes one of those things where it's like, okay, that just is not working right now. You got to figure something else out.
Yeah, I think for the most part, they got decent looks, and some of them just didn't fall. I also think there's something to be said of the fact that, like, I mean, Sam and I looked at this very briefly. I'd want to look more, but, like, the Celtics aren't alone in they go to the ISO late in the game. Like, almost every team does this. Like, this isn't like people like look at it and say, "Oh my God, this is a Celtics problem. They suck." Also, again, we're talking about open shots. Porzingis missed every single 3 he took. He
was bad in this, and it didn't help.
By the way, Jeff not exaggerating for those who didn't see the box score. Literally missed every 3 he took.
Yeah, he didn't make his 3 the whole night. But every team goes to ISO, and the reason for that is if you bring a pick and roll and you run switches like Brian says here in the chat. White, KP pick and roll with Jay's off ball cutting should be the answer, late game execution. I understand that in theory, and yes, but teams aren't covering that the same way in the final 5 minutes as do the rest of the game. Teams aren't giving Kristaps Porzingis, or they're not, doubling one person off it. They'll switch it and they'll play full switch, and at that point you'll get a mismatch. But guess what that ends up in? 1-on-1. And so would you rather have Tatum 1-on-1 attacking, or would you rather have Kristaps 1-on-1, 1-on-1 at the top where they like? Everything at the end of games, at least in my opinion, will almost always end up in one-on-one situation. Like, that's just inevitably how it's going to be, because that's what teams are going to force the Celtics to take. That's what teams are going to force every team to take in the final 5 minutes. I'm not saying I love it. Obviously, I'd like the Celtics to work a little harder to try to find something, like attack in a different way than just having Tatum dribble down. But people who are expecting the offense to be this great ball movement, zip, 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 open shot, like, teams just aren't giving that up at the end of games. Like, you'll find it every once in a while when you get a team scrambling, or when you run out in transition quick and you find a mismatch that you can pick on and they want to switch back. But I think at the end of the day, having Tatum with the ball in his hands is what is the best. Like, he's the best player on the team. And so I think people would have more of a problem if the Celtics run a pick and roll with KP and Derek White. And then when I'm not saying it has no chance of working, but when it probably goes to, it ends up in one of them attacking 1-on-1, people are going to be like, why wasn't it the hands of your best player? Like, people are going to complain about that too. So it's this weird mix, at least in my head. And for what it's worth, Tatum did a really good job against the Bucks when they went to him 1-on-1. He attacked Malik Beasley. He found guys. He made good passes. He got to the line. Like, I think it's a balance. And then Nick saying, I think JB needs to be on the court early in the fourth, usually 6 minutes mark, one of the 2 best players in the court. That's just a rotational thing. I don't know. I'm curious to know what you guys think. It's like if I'm just talking crazy, but
no, I'm with it. I think that it could be a little more team oriented on the earlier side of crunch time. And then even on the later, and I'm not trying to name every critical ingredient here, but I think that pace remains important, that getting to your spacing early, giving yourself a lot of the shot clock to work with. So against Milwaukee, consistently it was about 16 seconds. I'll take that. That's a positive in my book. And then as we've talked about, especially after the most recent game against the Nuggets, is that I don't want 4 players standing around watching Jason Tatum, even without the on-ball screen, I want some movement. And then lastly, and again, this is a point that we brought up after the Nuggets game. I've written about this a few times. You have to challenge the defense to make them prove themselves beyond just getting set up, beyond the defender being square to you with a help defender stationed behind him. And so even JJ Redick and LeBron brought this up, and I clipped it where they showed a play illustrating Tatum's growth in this department against the Mavericks this season in Dallas. It's the same type of deal. Kleber is behind Doncic. Doncic's on Tatum. And rather than just saying, well, you guys are set up, so you win, and I'll just take a sidestep 3, he comes downhill. I understand Doncic is not the best defender in the world or who he'll see in crunch time, but the point remains he comes downhill. He creates something out of that. It leads to a skip pass and a swing and an open corner 3 for Jaylen Brown. So that's what they need in crunch time, is to really kind of, without going overboard, force the issue and, again, make the defense prove they can stop you.
Yeah, I mean, Bobby mentioned the off-ball movement, and to me, that's the biggest thing. If you go back and you watch the clips in this Bucks game, they're still all standing around. I hate it. I don't know why there is no change with that. The only thing that I can think of in my head is you want to know where your safety valves are at. So if you're Tatum and you're driving and you're panicking and you need to kick it out, you know there's a guy in the corner, guy in the way, and guy at the top of the key, and you know you can throw a pass there kind of blindly. But it makes sense to have a secondary plan when you're in isolation. 1, it gives you just that, a fail-safe. 2, it makes the opposing off-ball defenders actually have to think instead of just standing there and being ready to help. Like, if you're having to chase Derek White around off the ball to try and get through screens, it's not going to go as easily for your defense. You're going to have to work. You're going to have to think. You're going to have to communicate. Instead, they're just able to sit back, be ready, be in place, and it gets harder on the ball handler, and you end up seeing a lot of tough shots get settled for.
Beast, I can't.
We got frozen Jack right now.
Oh, it's Jack. It's not me.
Oh my God, that was so weird. I was saying hi to Rui because I heard you clearly. I didn't freeze at all. That was weird. Am I here back? Can you hear me again?
You're here now.
You're in.
You're just a little pixely, but not your voice.
Weird. I have no idea. What I was gonna say is the off-ball movement thing. I agree in theory again, but like at the same time, it also like risks the spacing. Like if you want Tatum to have the most space to work, and then you have off-ball movement stuff going on, if that messes up at all, or they blow it up at all, that's more seconds off the clock, and that goes against the point of go faster, right? If there's off-ball movement and then it messes up, then you're left with Tatum rushing in an even more because there's up again. So yeah, I'm using now. I have Ethernet in, but again, I agree in theory, but I also see the downsides as to why they would want to just keep the floor completely spaced.
Well, but to that point, shouldn't you trust, especially with this team, that their movement is not going to mess up Tatum's drive or whatever he's looking to do?
In theory, yes, but like I said, if anything messes up, then and there's 30 seconds left of the game, and they blow up a D White KP off ball screen, and they send help, and they clog that side of the floor, and that's where Tatum was supposed to drive, and he panics the other way, and then he takes a mid-range shot. Everyone's gonna yell at him for taking that mid-range shot, when in reality he was supposed to drive the other way and make a pass, but those guys mess it up. And so,
I think what we've seen consistently though is struggles to produce points in the final 5 minutes of tightly contested games. And so rather than having the strategy be, let's do our best to avoid this situation and let's live with Tatum typically just trying to create something for himself off the dribble that usually is a really difficult shot to make, let's trust that we can execute in other ways to get ourselves better looks.
Yeah, you don't even have to do it every time. Like,
Right.
you can mix in some of the Tatum ISO stuff. It makes sense. But if you are giving the opposing team one job, they're going to have a much easier job slowing you down than if you're like, all right, maybe it's going to be Tatum. Maybe it's going to be a bunch of guys scrambling around. You're going to have to figure it out on the fly, and we're not going to tell you. Instead, what it is now is, like you said, Bobby, it's like, all right, like, maybe Tatum will create something. I mean, scale of 1 to 10, both of you, how confident are you in the Celtics in the last 2 minutes of this game getting a bucket when the game is tied?
I mean, the crunch time offense is just tends to struggle. And we've seen it this year too. And so even one of the things I look at, and this doesn't relate to off-ball activity, it's more about spacing, is if you overload the other side of the floor and give Tatum more space to try to get to the middle.
Even that too, yeah. I mean, you can run your actions away from the ball. It doesn't have to be scrambling. Like, you don't have to run somebody along the baseline as he is trying to get to the basket. You could have somebody in the opposite corner being screened for to come to the opposite wing up around the top of the key and moving that way and keeping them away from where the help defense would be. And it might not create a jam, but I think to just like stay the same in fear of maybe having bad spacing once in a while isn't the best practice if you're trying to improve a late game offense that I don't think anybody's overly confident in. It's not as bad as it once was. I thought Tatum did a great job for what it's worth in the Bucks game. And Jack, we talked about this on the post game pod where I didn't think he was a problem. Like, I love to pick on Tatum. I thought he was fine. He was 1 of 6 in the fourth, but like, I didn't think he made bad decisions. Didn't think he forced stuff. Like, all of the mental stuff, which is really what I like to hammer on, was there. Like, it was 2 thumbs up from him in that respect.
Including the poise.
Yeah. And he went to the basket. Ruled.
Y'all Tatum in the final. Am I frozen again? I have no idea what's going on.
You're on now.
I couldn't tell you. I am fully plugged into the wall.
You should have wore a mask when you were around me. I gave it to you.
Someone talking in the chat about like, oh, I want to see it spread around. Like, final 5 minutes, like Brown took a shot. You know, Derek White got a shot. Brown got a shot. Porzingis got, like, it wasn't just Tatum in the final 5 minutes. Like, they did spread the ball around in this Bucks game. Like, it wasn't just Tatum, you do everything. They spread it around. Guys got shots and guys missed shots. Like, Derek White had a terrible final 5 minutes. He turned the ball over, missed a floater. Kristaps Porzingis didn't make any of his threes, which if you want to beat the Bucks spacing, you need him to make his threes. Jaylen Brown missed 2 free throws. Like, this wasn't a Tatum thing. And then if we're talking about spacing, if we want to talk about bad spacing, you look at that Nuggets game. Part of the reason Tatum was so bad because they had terrible spacing. I remember one play vividly. They put Horford and Tillman in both dunker spots, and then Tatum had 0 room to work whatsoever. And so I do think it's a balance, and like, it's cool to run off ball actions. It's cool to put guys in different spots. But when the other team's defense is at the level of the Nuggets, who inevitably you might end up seeing in the playoffs, I think spacing is the most important thing.
Well, so yeah, and that goes to, I spoke with Joe Mazzulla earlier this season about how he defines pace. And to him, it's not about playing fast and pushing the ball up the floor. His priorities are, can you quickly get to your spacing? So now you're set up with an advantage. Can you make the right reads quickly and consistently? And things of that nature that allow you to capitalize so you don't end up in a situation where there are 2 bigs in the dunker spots opposite sides of each other, and you're standing around dribbling the ball into the floor, trying to figure out how you're going to make something happen. That's just really unlikely to work. So to me, you have to go quick in terms of getting to the proper spacing, and then again, challenging the defense to prove themselves as you try to make something happen.
It's true. Challenging the defense is the big thing, and whether you want to do that through putting pressure on them via Tatum and his skill set and making them help, or again, by running off ball stuff, whether that is just as a whole or segmented parts of the floor that are not going to affect the ball handler. There should be something like, you cannot just pitch fastballs every single time in baseball. You can't. The guy's going to hit a home run. You have to throw a slider. You have to throw a curveball every once in a while. And I know Joe talks about curveballs. He uses the word, but I think that's what the adjustment should be in crunch time. I don't think it's not flat one, it's not flat the other. It's a mix. It doesn't have to be Jason Tatum trying to create and offense off the ball at the same time, but one possession, one thing, one possession, another thing. Maybe a smaller quick set in a third possession. You just need to keep them guessing. And as far as the zone goes, I think we kind of talked about this earlier about putting someone at the free throw line, then having a guy run baseline to baseline. That would help. I know it's the NBA and the athleticism is a bit different, which is why they banned the zone and they don't let you sit in the key on defense. But it's awful. Lupe says he can't wait to attend a Red Sox game at Fenway in April. Really?
Shout out to Red Sox.
I feel like this is not the year for the Red Sox to be excited.
Baseball games are fun
to go sit in the cold.
The atmosphere. He'll take a warm weather day. He'll have a good time. Get a Fenway Frank.
I think one thing is probably just put a guy at the free throw line. Like I think that is definitely the easiest way to beat it. I don't know if I'm here or not.
You're here.
I'm gonna check my Ethernet cable after this because I don't know.
I'm gonna turn my fan on so you can look at that to see if we're frozen for you.
You guys don't freeze for me anyways. Like you never freeze for me. It is just like me freezing for you guys. So yeah, that's why
when I freeze, your thing will freeze for me. All right, I won't do that.
No. But I think underrated in the Bucks game was not having Drew Holiday, not having him as a connector. Not that that's an excuse. The Celtics are a good enough team. They have talented enough players to beat it regardless. But I do think having a guy like that who is so good at making connecting passes is huge. But again, they didn't have Giannis, so it's like an even killed thing. I don't know. I think just putting a guy at the free throw line most of the time is the best way to beat it. But like Sam said at the same time, like teams, it's the NBA for a reason. Like they will find ways to make stuff work. Like, I don't know, Bobby, what do you think of the zone?
Well, so the first thing I want to answer is about Drew Holiday. I think where they missed him the most is that he is a monster transition defender. And when you're struggling to make shots and constantly on your heels defensively, that could have helped them to get stops and stem the tide. And then maybe the ball goes through the basket for you and you can regain control of the game. As a connector, though, absolutely. And against the zone, I think another element is they have to be physical in terms of fighting for their spacing, in terms of screening and holding that to create an advantage out of it. So it's really important to me that the Celtics are physical against these teams that like to do it to them, especially given the change in how the game is governed since the All-Star break and allowing defenses to get away with more.
Yeah, I was thinking that specifically towards Porzingis. Like, Porzingis is not good in this game. And first and foremost, Porzingis is the ultimate free throw line guy. You get him the ball there. He is great at making decisions. He's good at making the tough shots. He's good at abusing mismatches, and he puts a lot of pressure on the defense. So when he's on, him catching the ball there is going to help break the zone by itself. And I think that's a main reason why you've seen the Celtics be so effective against the zone this year is because they can lean on him a bit more. I think having Holiday would be great too, just for the reasons that Jack mentioned with making the connector passes, reading the defense, putting pressure on them that way. But as far as the officiating goes, I may have to keep an eye on Porzingis' numbers going forward because he did a lot of rip through free throw merchant stuff throughout this season, and it was really fun to be on the right side of it. But if they're not going to give him those rip through calls, he may become a little bit less effective. And going into the playoffs, that's not what you wanted of Porzingis. I don't think we should be overly concerned with him just yet. He played one inefficient game against the Bucks. He was better than I thought against the Pistons on Monday. And Friday, I don't even know who's playing. I know the injury report's out. If he's playing, it'll be a good chance for him tonight. If he's not playing, then maybe in Chicago.
I don't think anybody's playing tonight.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't think we're getting.
Can't wait to do playback.
Although I think we get Sam Hauser. Probable.
Yeah, so that's good for his ankle. I think my Ethernet cord is loose. I think I just need to buy a new one, so we have to deal with it for now.
Holiday out, Horford questionable.
Whole team.
Oh yeah, they're all questionable.
5 of the top 6.
Whole team
report.
Just Derek White hanging out. Which
chance for another triple double.
Derek White, number 1 option. What is it? What is the stat line? That's what we're going to find out. Finally, the question will be answered, Jack.
We'll get a chance. Lupe asking, what do you think of development players, JD and Jordan? Jordan Walsh looks all right. JD Davison.
Yeah.
JD Davison learned Chinese.
I wouldn't invest too much stock right now in JD Davison. I mean, there are some traits for sure. They're the same ones really that he came out of college with. So we'll see. I would have liked more of a leap from him in Maine this season, quite frankly. So who knows if he makes the jump to an NBA player or not. I think it's a huge offseason for him coming up. Jordan Walsh, I'm a big fan of. Now, if the rotation as the money becomes a big factor, Jordan Walsh and Jaden Springer are a part of your rotation off the bench. At least one of them needs to be able to knock down shots off the catch. So we'll see. But both of them defensively for sure. And then Walsh brings a little more to the table beyond that.
I think Springer has eclipsed JD Davison in like the development plan. Like I think they have brought him in to take that spot and be the next up and coming guard because whatever they've seen in Davison that they don't like, I just don't think he's been very effective anytime I've got to watch him play like at a moderately high level, whether it's summer league or in the NBA minutes he gets. He's never been overly impressive. As for Jordan Walsh, I think he's got a lot of potential as a defender. Being only 19, he has extremely long arms. He has plenty of time to put on muscle and add to his defensive skill set. And he's got time to learn how to shoot threes, which I still stand by is something you can learn. Like they can teach him how to do that. He'll be okay. And Springer is in the same boat where I respect his defense. He's a great hustle player. We saw some good minutes from him against Detroit. But even though he had the extended minutes and the freedom of the extra time, he still couldn't buy a three, especially with the high pressure situation of getting Derek White that 10th assist.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he couldn't make the shot. It is something that bring Pritchard in. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not as in on JD Davison. He's fine. It's just that lack of an outside shot is going to kill him. And then Jordan Walsh looks good. I think they like him a lot considering they gave him that long-term deal, so that's good as well. But circling back to the Bucks game, I wrote about it for Celtics blog. Jaylen Brown's defense on Damian Lillard was very fun to watch. It's something he's been doing all year. Jason Tatum called it, quote, powerful after the game, said it's a great leadership. I knew you were going to laugh at that, and I knew I was going to have to say something.
No, there's nothing wrong with it. It's just a funny word.
Why?
I don't know why. It's just funny to me. It makes me laugh. It's true, though.
He said it was big for the Celtics, what it does for them, saying like seeing a guy like him take charge and still bring it on offense doesn't let anybody else have excuses. I asked Jaylen about it and he like cracked a smile and said it's fun. So it's fun for us as well to see Brown take on these matchups and pretty efficient night, but overall just like he took 4 against Jaylen on the night of his 21 shots came against Horford or Porzingis when he got switches. So I think Jaylen just did a good job of keeping him in check in terms of his shot quantity when he was on him, and he was hounding him in the backcourt too. So,
yeah, I also think Jaylen guarding the toughest assignment on the perimeter. One, it plays to his physical tools, and secondly, it reduces any concerns you have about him as a help defender, where sometimes he can fall asleep or be a step late to react. So it really is optimal for him and the team that he takes on these assignments. You can see the energy it gives him. And then considering what he does for this team, pushing the pace, that's huge that he has a source of juice behind him there coming from the defensive side of the ball. So I really like it. And I remember talking to him after the Warriors game about, hey, did you ask to guard Steph Curry or did they give you that assignment? And he said that it's at a point now where it's kind of normalized, that he gets this assignment. It's understood what it's going to be. I think it really stems from, it took time this season as well. But when he came in and said, hey, I've got James Harden against Philly after they lost game 1, and he ripped his heart out from the start in game 2, I think that was something that kind of a light bulb went off for Jaylen Brown, or at least a thought he had for a while. He decided to act on in between the loss to start that series, going into the next one to come out and say, this is what's best for me and the team. And it works.
And just, we'll build off the Jaylen guarding perimeter guys thing. Looking ahead to the playoffs, a lot of the teams that you're going to potentially be matched up against will have strong offensive forces coming from the perimeter. Okay, Milwaukee, Dame, easy one. New York, Jalen Brunson. Philly, if they somehow get in, Tyrese Maxey. Indiana, Tyrese. Even Miami, you can either say Jimmy or Tyler Hero or even Terry Rozier if you really want to give him a ton of credit. There are so many opportunities that could come for him in the spring where he's going to make an impact defensively. He's going to do it on a big stage, and he's going to get recognition for it. if they do a good job and he does a major job locking down these guys, people are going to be like, look at Jaylen. Brian Windhorst and Stephen A will be on First Take. Like, is Jaylen Brown an all defensive caliber player? And they'll be screaming at each other. He has a tremendous opportunity to make his presence known, not only within the team, but nationally, and maybe down the line get the all defensive recognition he was going after this season. Even though he might deserve it, he probably won't get it because there's just not enough spots. I like it. It's a nice addition because Bobby mentioned his lack of awareness sometimes with the help role. All I could think about when you mentioned James Harden, I thought of the game 4 when they were up 2 and Embiid was about to get a layup to tie the game, and then he helped off Harden and they lost the game. And I was so mad at that after the game. So I'm glad he's not in that role anymore.
Yeah. Sorry. I'm at the point in the show where I'm looking up trivia. So if I'm slow, that's why.
Okay.
It's not the Wi-Fi.
I didn't see what you cook up.
Yeah, I love the zone thing. I think him taking that on a defense not only is it important for the team and that leadership, I also think it's important in a year where he'll inevitably have to give up some stuff on offense because they have more talent. Him like focusing his effort into that thing is huge into the defensive end. It gives him another outlet. And it helps him with his transition focus, which has been another big thing this year, him just sprinting and transition and getting buckets that way. So that's been good as well. Also good against the Bucks. Payton Pritchard continues to just be sick to watch. He's been awesome. He had a great first half, especially against the Bucks. He's on one of the best contracts in the NBA now. He's great. Also, according to Noah, which is, shout out Payton Pritchard. Awesome.
Yeah, I mean, 5 of 8 from beyond the arc. He was cooking. Love that he got 6 rebounds. That one where he rips it away from Brook Lopez, that had TD Garden in a frenzy. And so, look, Patrick Beverley, he does the too small all the time, but sometimes you need something to get you juiced up. And in this case, Payton Pritchard took that personally, even though it was to a teammate. Even better look on his part, if you ask me. And he responded. He got himself going off of it, and then he became a huge problem. He undressed Gallinari in the corner on that 3. So you would have liked it to carry over more into the second half. But look, he had a huge impact in the first 2 quarters to the point where Derek White at intermission is saying, we need to go out there and play like Payton.
I loved Pritchard on Wednesday night. He was incredible. Just the sheer amount of energy, I don't think is something we've ever seen from him before. Not to say that he isn't a gritty player. I think his grit is one of the main reasons he is consistently getting minutes despite being undersized at the guard position. He kind of turned the tides, or at least like really, really built the momentum for the Celtics in that game to where they were able to balloon that lead up behind him. He played at a different level than we had ever seen. It was a starter level. It was borderline an all-star level where, weird to say, but he kind of took over the game, and he did it in a way that superstars do it. He was isolating. He was creating shots for himself, and he was somebody that it really felt like Milwaukee didn't have an answer for, which is bizarre to say for a bench guy. That just doesn't happen in the NBA, at least not all the time. And I guess Pritchard doesn't happen all the time. But in a big game like that, it doesn't happen. So I was thrilled with that. I'm thrilled to see how he continues to develop. I know he's the same age as Tatum, which people forget because he got drafted years after. But he still has room to grow as a player, and he's physically strong enough to hang on defense, and he will put the effort in to be there on defense, which is the most important part for the playoffs. And oddly enough, I trust him to show up in the moment. Like, if they played him in crunch time, if he's getting shots, I'm not, like, batting an eye. I'm like, okay, yeah, he'll probably make it. Oh, good look. Just didn't drop.
Big shot maker, Payton Pritchard. Sam trusts him more than Jason Tatum. Thoughts?
I sure do.
Wow, they're very different looks. That's the furthest I'll go in your direction, Sam, that he's going to be getting it off the catch from Tatum with a clean look because of JT.
Tatum clean look in Denver. Brick. I raise.
It was a rough night. It was one game.
Moron.
One game.
All right. Bobby, anything else before we get to trivia?
I think we're ready for trivia.
Are you sure? You hesitated.
Well, I was thinking because we are not going to be on tomorrow. So it's our only chance to talk anything about the Pistons or the Bulls game. So if there's anything we want to hit on there.
Our Pistons.
Sam's Pistons.
Hate to have to try and beat him again.
They're
Last
down
time of the
6
year,
players
thank goodness.
already ruled out, including once again Jack Simone's arch nemesis ducks him for the second time in a week.
Fontecchio, he's terrified. Can watch for DeMar DeRozan injuring a Celtics player like he injured Jalen Green.
That was wild.
Did you
He's
see
doing
that
purpose?
clip?
No, I didn't see.
Yeah, he definitely did it on purpose.
Oh wait, was that the thing that like they had the scuffle?
Yeah. So this is
What did he do?
did to,
All right, pull it up.
Let me show
Clocked
you.
Jalen Green.
I'm trying to
Oh
find, like,
my
a clear thing.
gosh.
Yeah, he just fully like, you know what? Let me.
He'll be lucky if he's not suspended for the Celtics game. I want him suspended. Adam Silver, step in. You doxed Joe Mazzulla.
Yeah, he just ran into him, and then Dylan Brooks did what Dylan Brooks does. Which, if you ever want Dylan Brooks, this is the moment you want Dylan Brooks. He just, that's pretty.
Is it maybe I'm on an island? I was a little underwhelmed in this moment by Dylan Brooks. It took him a minute to get over there.
Yeah.
I would have wanted more from him, and I wonder if
Rui,
Ine did too.
Very nice. Thanks, Rui. We appreciate you. Nice to meet you too. Peace.
What's it called? Yeah, Dylan Brooks should have did like the boxing routine he did in the FIBA World Cup hallway. I love Dylan Brooks. Like all the theatrics with him, all of the stupid dances he does before the game, I'm in. Yeah, DeRozan should be suspended. I don't want him anywhere near Porzingis. I don't want him anywhere near anybody that could get hurt, but specifically Porzingis can't have that. Just can't.
Agree. All right. Trivia time. Chat's away. New power up. So chat.
Power up.
Once per session, the guys can say, I want to know what the chat said, and I will take the last message from chat. So whatever it is, I don't care if you're trolling, the last player I see, most recent player I see in the chat will be the name I give them to help them. You guys get it once around. Use it wisely, or perhaps it could be.
What if we do? You can veto this. What if we do? We can pick the last, second to last, or third last. So there's a little bit of like mystery.
I can get down with that.
Oh, sure. Yeah. You message you mean? Yes. Yes, sure. That's fine. So,
all right.
Chat, flood the chat with your guesses for the question, and or troll if you want to screw that. So this one's going to take me a little longer to search up each individual time because there's a lot of duplicates.
Thank you for the heads up.
So that context. We're doing since 2000, so since the turn of the century, most points scored by a Celtics player against the Lakers in a single game, including playoffs.
Bravo.
Including playoffs. So playoffs or regular season, most points scored by a Celtic against the Lakers in a single game. This is not cumulative. This is a single game. Points scored against Lakers.
You said playoffs too, right?
Yep, including playoffs.
Okay.
I'll tell you I'll read exactly verbatim. This is since the 99-2000 season on. I'm going to read you verbatim what I put in the StatMuse search bar. Most points scored by a Celtics player against the Lakers in a single game, including playoffs, since 2000. So that is verbatim, exactly what I wrote in there. Thank you, Matthew. You didn't have to do that. We appreciate you, though.
Thank you.
You're a beast. Thanks, Matthew. 1T, always 1T. While you guys think briefly, I will type it onto the screen so that people know what we're looking at. And it is 32. Bobby will go first because he won the last time. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 3, 4. Okay, ready? Most points.
Oh, this will be a fun one.
This should be a good one.
Should we tease the Tuesday show, Jack?
Or should we
the new project?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I mean we can. I'm done. I forgot about the new project till you said it. So much going
coming up 4 days. So for all of you here, we have 109 concurrents across all networks. On Tuesday afternoon, we are going to launch our Celts at the Round Table. So it'll be us three, plus some other members of the Celtics beat, coming, chat.
Confirm, but yes.
Multiple people
it'll be
got
a
to
mix.
meet
It might not
Rui
be
the other
everybody.
night.
I know. I'm just saying we're going to confirm that everyone or most people are ready to rumble. Because I mean, if I forgot about it, then I can't imagine.
Yeah, I'll send a message while you're doing it while Bobby's guessing.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I got it ready to go.
The first two are going rapid fire.
I am ready if we'd like to start guessing.
All right, here we go. Paul Pierce.
That was
Paulie
my guess.
Pierce. All righty.
How he earned the nickname The Truth. against the Lakers.
42 points.
Tatum.
Jason Tatum. 44 points.
Ray Allen.
Ray Allen. Again, I'm going to remind you, it might take me a bit longer to look. It's not an indication of a bad guess. It's just because I have to look through everything.
I'm going to leave.
Ray Allen, 32 points.
Zingis.
Porzingis.
Christmas.
You don't have to give me the date, but thank you. Kristaps Porzingis. Just double checking. 28 points.
Oh, that's not good.
Well, it's going to start to get tougher.
Yeah, after those first two Tatum Pierce, it gets a little who should I go with here?
Isaiah
Thomas.
Oh boy, that was a horrendous response, Jack.
You guys look into what I'm saying far too much. Isaiah Thomas, 38 points.
Ooh, oh, that's a good one.
You fooled me. You faked me out.
I don't know how.
I'm going to guess Jaylen.
Jaylen Brown. Let's take a look. Jaylen Brown, 40 points.
Good guess, Sam.
Yeah, I think that was a reminder from the last one where he had double digits in the overtime.
Yeah, he went off.
This is where it does get tough, though. Very tough.
I'm pretty sure. I'm going to double check, but I think you're tied right now. I'm pretty sure you're tied. So, yeah, 70, 74, 82, 112, 84. No. Wait.
I think I'm down 2.
Yes, I think so.
Wait a minute.
No, I think you might be down.
No, it is tied.
10. Yeah, because 84.
84 plus 28 is 112. You're right.
I think it's tied, right?
It is tied.
Yeah, okay. I'm just making sure. Okay. Did some math. They are tied. You still have the power up if you choose to use it because you yes. Michael, welcome in. But we are doing the power up. Tell Michael because Michael will mess with y'all. We are doing the power up where they can choose the last message, second to last message, or third to last message at any point in the show and take that for whatever it's worth. So if you do, in fact, say Michael Petrus, you guys just I'm remembering what you guys could end up with if you'd like to use the power up or not. So if you only use it if you're truly stuck, I would suggest.
Shout out to Air France, Mikhail Petrus.
That's a guess.
What'd you call him?
Can you imagine? All right, I'm going to take a chance on something. So we're going Brett Favre gunslinger here. We'll see if it's a touchdown or an interception. I'm going with Antoine.
I did think of him. I was unsure.
I'm very unsure, Sam.
Antoine Walker is 30 points.
I'll take
That's a good one. Yeah. This is tough. Very tough. Very tough. We've gotten past the fun. It's where it gets difficult.
Jared, that's so mean. We're going to clarify. It has to be a Celtics name. You cannot. I will not allow them to take your 10th grade biology teacher, Paul Hilly.
Oh, that is terrible.
Sorry. It can't be any name. It has to be a Celtics. It has to be a name that fits the criteria.
I'm trying to think back. I'm not sure. I won't take forever, I swear. I have some comfortable guesses.
There you go, Michael. W. I got to start, saying good or bad to chat. I got to stop responding to chat because I can't give you all. You know what I'm saying?
I'm not thinking about the chat right now. Don't worry.
Good. I can't give you all clues anymore.
I'll guess KG. He had to have had a good game one of those games. He played enough.
Let's take a look.
He's got to be good for 25. I just need to be in it.
Gets you 22.
That's terrible.
1 sec, actually. Maybe that could be wrong. Sorry. 26.
That would have been robbery. Now I need you to check all of them.
I forgot to type including playoffs. Well, sorry, Sam. You guessed one that wasn't on the board, so I can't. I have no problem with the rest of them.
Well, the playoffs is why I guess, because I was like, he had to have had they played them twice in the finals.
All right, so that is 142 for Bobby, and one.
I would imagine that me and Sam are trying to choose between the same list of people right now for this guess.
A lot of guesses flooding the chat. There's so many where I can respond to some because you guys don't know who was first or second. Ashton, that's not on the board. There aren't. Yeah, those aren't terrible guesses.
Sam, this is up to you. If you'll allow Jack to answer, Jack, what is the highest number left?
That's fine.
The highest point number left?
Well, so you don't even have to give the points, but like, does it rank first, second, third, fourth, whatever?
Oh, like, did we get what number answers remain?
Right.
Oh, you have the top 1, 2, 3, 4 people on the board.
Okay.
But the top 4 people, they hold on like a lot of the top. You know what I'm saying? Like they repeat a lot before you get to the next guy. But you have the top 4 players.
I see what you mean.
Yeah, I don't know how else to say it.
No, you answered.
Michael is throwing out a lot of guesses for y'all if you'd like to use the chat.
That's how you end up with Purvis Ellison.
Yeah, the chat thing is not going to work.
All right. Well,
neither one of us are ever going to trust the chat if they're going to troll.
The chat could come through, but it's just such a gamble, and you expect it to be a troll type of answer.
Maybe one of these times I'll pick the chat on purpose so I can blame them.
Michael says he's offended. Maybe next series we don't have to implement it now. We say you have to use the chat for any answers. That'd be more fun.
Maybe.
But we'll see. We'll see.
All right, this one, I'm so nervous, but I will go with Kyrie.
Oh, that was my guess. Oh, damn.
Kyrie Irving gets you 30 points, and unfortunately, Sam, that was the top answer left. So you do not have a chance. Yeah, that Rondo. Is it. That is a closeout. Rajon Rondo gets you 24.
Terrible.
Yep. And that'll be it.
That Isaiah one won it. That was a great guess.
Appreciate that.
That was like one
you came back with 40 with Jaylen.
Yeah, you got Jaylen.
I know, but like I knew like Tatum and Brown both had good ones. Like I forgot about the Isaiah one. It was a blind spot. I knew Pierce had a good one.
The only name left on the original StatMuse board is Ricky Davis, who had 29. So you guys cleaned up most of the. Crazy. He what?
He did not come to mind.
Oh yeah. No way. But yeah,
hey,
tough opener. That's a 1-0 to Bobby in the series.
This is a fun one though.
I mean, Jack's crushing the questions.
Yeah, these are fun questions.
I'm trying to get creative. For what it's worth, it would have been helpful. You would have had help in the chat.
Where?
Was that the last guess?
It was second to last, so you guys could have technically chosen it.
I think that's an important wrinkle that Sam's introduced, that you don't have to be resigned to the last guess. You can call your shot.
And for what it's worth, it wasn't just once. He was throwing it back up for y'all.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Now that I'm looking, they're not really trolling. They're not trolling. I am looking. They're taking their responsibility seriously. Okay. All right. Sorry.
You know, it could be another one. Can you pick the person to answer?
So like Celtics have the highest.
Allow it. I'll let you pick whose last answer you want, but then you can't go. I want Michael's second to last answer. You have to pick. I want their last answer.
Okay.
You can.
Now
be
it's
Max
more likely
Kellerman.
to get used.
I want Michael.
Just not have it.
Next question. Study up, fellas.
Big Baby, Sullinger, Shaq.
Got to hit up the training staff.
Shemi probably isn't fair.
Hello.
Shemi's
BMI was probably great because it was all muscle.
That's what I mean.
Pierce, little doughy.
Maybe Pierce at a time.
Perhaps.
Sad.
Especially Pierce before Garnett arrived.
Let's see. Where is the real? Here it is. All right, Bobby, any final thoughts before I get you out of here?
No, I think we covered it all, and props to Jack for crushing trivia.
It's true. Yes. Thank you all for tuning in. We appreciate it. Make sure to subscribe to How About Them Celtics. Leave a like on the stream as well. Leave a like on the video. Check out Bobby's work at si.com/NBA/Celtics, and I'll let Sam wrap it up.
Yeah, thank you very much for watching. If you tuned in live, we do appreciate that. These streams are a ton of fun. Trivia is fun. And now with the new Lifeline thing, you guys can get in on the fun, maybe be a part of the show in that respect. So definitely come hang out if you're watching the replay. These are live, usually 11 Monday and Wednesday morning. Fridays are a bit earlier due to the fellas having to go play some basketball during the day. And we do appreciate your presence. Make sure you follow Bobby on Twitter at Bobby Kravitsky. You can find all of his Celtics coverage for Inside the Celtics, part of SI Media. He's at the games, he's at the practices. He is a great source for you if you're trying to follow the C's. You can also find us on Spotify and Apple. Jack and I are putting up the full pods and game recaps there. So if you like the audio versions of those, they're right to your inbox. Leave a 5-star review. You can find us via email. hbtcpod@gmail.com is the address if you want to get in on the show. We do go through the emails each pod. So if you have questions, you have takes, you want to get them off, send them our way. You can find us on socials at How About Them C's, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. The Facebook is just the name of the podcast. Our streams are there. They are on YouTube, and they're on Twitter. Jack's Twitter's at JackSimona NBA. Bobby's, again, is at Bobby Kravitsky. And mine is at Sam LaFrance NBA. It's for us. Bye.